Hi there. Good day, everyone. This is Teacher Jerry A. Java again for English with Jerry Java. Now, welcome me back, and welcome back, everyone, to my channel. This is another round of English lesson. Okay, this time we'll be talking about the four sentence types according to sentence structure. Okay, how these kinds of sentences are being formed. Okay, there are four, but I will take it one after the other. These are the sentence types. We have a simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and of course the compound complex. Okay, so before we dig deeper into the first type of sentence, which is the simple sentence, let's first maybe review, discuss something more about the that a basic element of every sentence. Every sentence, it is called a sentence. It has to become a sentence when it has these elements or features, the standard of what a sentence should be. Okay, first, a sentence should have a subject and predicate. These are the two main parts of a sentence. It has to have a subject and a predicate. What is a subject? It is something or someone that is talked about in the sentence. It's the doer of, or the doer or the actor in a sentence. It's who or what we are talking about in the sentence. Okay. Whereas the predicate, it tells something about the subject. Its principal part is, of course, the verb. It tells what is our subject is doing or is making. Okay, that's a predicate. Now, example here we have Mary plays tennis. That's the whole sentence. Mary plays tennis. The subject is Mary. It's that woman that is being talked about in this sentence. And then, of course, a predicate plays tennis. So that's the whole thing that is being mentioned or talked about Mary. Okay, as you can see here, we have plays tennis. Plays, the predicate is headed by the verb plays. Okay, there. Who plays tennis? Who are we talking about in the sentence? It's Mary. Therefore, that makes Mary our subject. And what does Mary do? Mary plays tennis. So plays tennis, that's the whole predicate. Okay. Now let's talk. Okay. For that sentence to be really called a sentence, it has to have that a subject and predicate. Okay. It has to have a complete thought or complete unit of thought. Okay, its meaning should be complete, not a fragment. Okay, not just a part. Now let's start with a simple sentence. What is a simple sentence? From the word itself, from the word simple. It's just plain. It's very simple. A simple sentence has one subject and one predicate. It only talks about one thing. Okay, its thought is just one. Okay, from the word simple. Simple means one. It does not complicate things. It just tells one or two persons doing one or two things. That's just it. Okay, that's a simple sentence. Now let's observe how a simple sentence is constructed. Example here, we went to San Juan yesterday. That's our sentence. Who went to San Juan yesterday? We. Okay, then what did we do yesterday? Where did we go? When did we go? So that's we went to San Juan yesterday. That's our whole predicate phrase. Okay, complete predicate. Now let's analyze that sentence. We went to San Juan yesterday. Here we have a simple subject Who went to San Juan? We. So that's just one. So that's a simple subject. Then, of course, went to San Juan, that's a complete predicate. So we have there our subject. We have we is our pronoun. Then went, of course, like I said, it's the verb actually is the main predicate. It's the heading. Okay, it heads. I mean, it leads the predicate. So that's the verb. And then to San Juan, this is our prepositional phrase. You would know it's a prepositional phrase because it's a group of words. It's a phrase that starts with a preposition. Prepositions are of course the little words like in, on, at, where, in, on, at, of, into, to, by. Okay, that tells you the location of things. Okay, those are prepositional phrases, and then it ends, and then it begins with a preposition and ends with a noun, okay, or pronoun. So San Juan here is a noun. So it's a name of a place. So that's a noun. So to San Juan. That's it. So we have a simple subject, then your complete predicate. Okay. We have here Mary plays. Let's get back to our sample sentence earlier. We have a Mary plays tennis. How many subjects? We have, well, what is our subject? It's Mary. How many is Mary? So that's just one. So that's one subject. So that's just called a simple subject. Okay. What is a complete predicate? Plays tennis. How many actions? How many things are talked about Mary? Plays tennis. So that's just one predicate. There's only one verb there. Plays. uh, did she do something else? Nothing else. So that's one subject, one predicate. So that's called a simple subject plus a simple predicate. Okay, one woman, one action. One actor, one action. So that's simple subject, simple predicate. Now let's have this can also be a simple sentence. Okay, like I said, it doesn't matter how many does the action or how many actions are being done, as long as the thought is just one. So that this is still considered a simple subject. I mean, a simple sentence. Like here, Tom and Mary play tennis. What's a subject? Who play tennis? That's Tom and Mary. That's not just Mary alone. There's now Tom and Mary. So that's there are now two subjects. So that's a compound subject. In English, when we say simple, one. When we say compound, two. So compound subjects. Why do you know? How can you tell that it's compound? Because there are two there. Tom plus Mary. Then we have play tennis. There are now two actors doing one action. What uh, what did Tom and Mary do? They play tennis. How many actions did they do? That just one. Okay, they just play tennis, nothing else. Okay, so that's compound subject, simple predicate. Another one, this can also be a, I mean, under a simple sentence. Compound subject and a compound predicate. Two actors, two actions. Okay, Tom and Mary play tennis and swim. Who play tennis and swim? They are Tom and Mary. So that's compound subject. Still two actors. Then what did Tom and Mary do? They play tennis, and after that they swim. Okay, two actions now, two verbs. What is the first thing they did? They play tennis and then they swim. So that's now two actions. So two actors, Tom and Mary, then two actions, two verbs, two predicates, compound predicates. So you have compound subject and of course compound predicate. That's still a simple sentence. As long as in that sentence, the unit, there's just one complete thought. Okay. We have here a sample sentence. Simple sentence with compound subject. Tom and Mary play tennis. Okay. Two actors, one action. We have here simple sentence with a compound subject. It's not just Mary. It's Tom and Mary. How many? This is now compound subject, simple predicate. Play tennis. There's two actors, one action. Two actors, Tom and Mary, one action, play. Now this one, simple sentence with compound subject and compound predicate. We have here Tom and Mary. How many? One or two? There are two, so that's compound subject. How many actions do they do? They have play tennis and swim. So that's a compound predicate. Now that's it, guys, for a simple sentence. From the word itself, it's just plain and simple. Okay. Now let's go to compound sentence. For compound sentence, of course, like I told you earlier, the difference between the word simple and compound. Simple one, compound two. Now this will have to give you an idea what a compound sentence is. A compound sentence is, of course, it has two sentences, two simple sentences actually. Two simple sentences make up a compound sentence. A compound sentence has more than one part that can stand alone, or we call that the independent clause. Now, independent clauses are connected by coordinating conjunctions, conjunctive adverbs, or a semicolon. These are the ways on how to make a compound sentence. When we say independent clause, it's that a group of words that can stand alone, that can stand on their own. It's a free clause, okay? It is an independent clause, meaning independent clause, it can stand on its own, whether it be joined or connected by other clauses or not. It can, on its own, it can still stand as a sentence, meaning it has its own complete thought. It has a subject and a verb on its own. Here we have a compound sentence. We went to San Juan and most of us danced all night. We have there. So you have two simple sentences here. If you're going to break this compound sentence down, this will be made up of two simple sentences. One, we went to San Juan. That's one simple sentence. Most of us danced all night. That's another simple sentence. So a compound sentence is made up of two simple sentences or two independent clauses, which can stand on its own as a sentence. And then it is connected by the coordinating conjunctions. This one, the and. We have the and, or, so, nor, yet. That's it. And of course, but. In this case, we have and. Two things are happening now. Okay, two things are happening in one sentence. That's what we make compound sentence. We have first, we went to San Juan. Then next thing that happened, most of us danced all night. So we have here one in this. Let's get to another slide to help us. Here, we went to San Juan. That's one sentence. Another sentence with another subject is a most of us that's all night. Okay, we have here. Okay. Wait, wait. We'll just finish. Okay, here. There. We went to San Juan. This is one simple sentence, another simple sentence, and most of us danced all night. Okay. As you can see, there are now two sets. This sentence here has one subject, another predicate or verb, and another sentence here has another subject and another verb. So that's a independent clause. It has a subject. Who went to San Juan? We. What did we do to San Juan? We went there. And of course, you still have your prepositional phrase. Then, most of us. Who danced all night? Most of us. That's our subject. What did most of us do? We danced all night. That's our verb. And then, of course, we have the and, which is our coordinating conjunction. What is the work of a coordinate? What is the work of a conjunction? It connects or bridges or joins together words, or it links the words. So that's it. That's a compound sentence. You of the use of coordinating conjunction and. Okay, we have here the use of coordinating conjunctions. We have subject, predicate. That's one. This is one simple sentence, another simple sentence connected by and, which is a coordinating conjunction. Coordinating meaning it links sentences or words of the same category or the same or similar thought. Okay, that's and. We have here Tom swims and Mary plays tennis. Okay, we have here Tom does another thing, whereas Mary also does another thing. Okay, this will only become this will only become a simple sentence if we join together Tom and Mary. When we say Tom and Mary swim and play tennis, that would be a simple sentence. But here we we broke them, we separated them. Okay, Tom does another thing, Mary does another thing. Okay, Tom swims and Mary plays tennis. So you have here one simple sentence, Tom swims, and another simple sentence, Mary plays tennis. That's it. Okay, so it has to have, for it to become a compound sentence, it has to have one sentence has to have a subject on its own and also a verb, and another sentence or another independent clause having a complete subject and a predicate. Okay, that's it. Now here are the 7 coordinating conjunctions. So the fanboys, we call them the fanboys. Fanboys. You have to memorize this really. These are the complete the coordinating conjunctions. If you see these coordinating conjunctions in a sentence, joining two simple sentences together, then that goes to show that that sentence is a compound sentence. These are actually your power words. These are your magic words. If you see these words in a sentence, then that is already a compound sentence. You have for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Or fanboys. Fanboys. We have here Tom swims and Mary plays tennis. Here, Tom swims. That's just 2 words, but that's already a simple sentence. That's one independent clause. Clause 1 here is independent. Tom swims, independent. Mary plays tennis. This is another simple sentence, which is also called an independent clause. Mary plays tennis. Subject, verb, subject, verb, connected by and. And we have another here. Okay, that's the use of and. Then this one, comma before and in compound sentence. You have to make sure that you have the comma before and when you join together two simple sentences, making compound sentence. Okay. Then you can also have with the use of conjunctive adverbs. Conjunctive adverbs with the words. These are the examples of which you have moreover, however, otherwise, therefore. Okay, you have to make sure that when you use conjunctive adverbs, before that, you have to have a semicolon. You have here, Bob is handsome, moreover, he is rich. It tells something more. It's an additional, okay? Conjunctive adverbs are just like actually that's just the a older brother or sister, older siblings of and or of the fanboys. Only that they are the longer ones. Okay. Bob is handsome, moreover, he is rich. Bob is handsome, that's one simple sentence, that's one independent clause. He is rich, this is another independent clause, that's another simple sentence with the use of course, conjunctive adverbs. Moreover, meaning you are giving additional information. You have here, who is handsome? Bob, that's our subject. What does it say about Bob? Is handsome. Is here is our verb. So that's, you have complete subject and a verb. Here, he is rich. Who is rich? He, that's a pronoun, that is our subject. What does it tell about he? Rich. Who is he? Bob. So that's another simple sentence. So that's still a compound sentence. You have to note that you have to use semicolon before conjunctive adverb and comma after the conjunctive adverb. Please do not forget that. Now, let's have a few additional information about what conjunctive adverbs are. They actually float, meaning conjunctive adverbs are sometimes called floating adverbs because they can be positioned at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of a clause. You can position them wherever part of in a sentence. Okay, you can put that there at the start, somewhere in the middle, or at the end. It doesn't actually make a total change or adjustment in the meaning of the sentence. Example here, putting moreover there. Bob is handsome, moreover, he is rich. Bob is handsome, he is, moreover, rich. Bob is handsome, he is rich, moreover. So that's pretty much the meaning is the same wherever we put moreover. Okay. And then, of course, the use of semicolons. If the relation between the ideas expressed in the main clauses is very close and obvious without a conjunction, you can separate the clauses with a semicolon. Example here. Tom has benefited from his exercise program. He is slim and energetic. There. You use instead a semicolon. That's still okay. So Tom has benefited from his exercise program. That's one simple sentence. Another simple sentence, he's slim and energetic. That's a compound sentence. Now let's move on to the complex sentence. Now we're getting harder and more difficult this time, but still, it's still a sentence. Now this is it's a little longer now. It doesn't matter how long, okay, as long as we are focusing on the structure. For the complex sentence, a complex sentence has at least two parts. One that can stand alone, we call that the independent clause, and another one that cannot, we call that the dependent clause. The part that cannot stand alone is linked to the rest of the sentence with a subordinating conjunction. Earlier, for compound sentence, we The one that links, the one that we use to connect is called a coordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunction. Whereas here, for complex sentence, we use the subordinating conjunction. It makes the another one dependent, or yeah, rely so much on the independent clause. Okay, it makes the other one a subordinate or inferior. Okay, that's a subordinating conjunction. As to the one that can stand alone or not stand alone, dependent or independent. Okay, now for the independent, it can stand on its own, whether or not there is a dependent clause or not. Okay, it's complete, its meaning is complete as a sentence. Whereas the dependent clause, the one that cannot stand on its own, when the independent clause is not around, is not connected, when you cut the sentence to that to the dependent clause, it will have no meaning on its own. Okay, I'll be discussing more of that in the next slide. Since my boyfriend and I wanted to have fun, we went to San Juan yesterday. Let's analyze this. Yes, since we wanted to have fun, we went to San Juan yesterday. Here, you have to find first which of the clauses, which part of the sentence. Usually, the comma is a really great, the comma provides a really great clue. The comma actually separates the dependent from the independent clause. So we have here, since we wanted to have fun, that's one group. We went to San Juan yesterday, that's another group. Separated by a comma, of course. We have here, since we want to have fun, let's focus on this part of the sentence alone, on this clause. Since we wanted to have fun, let's assume that it has no, we went to San Juan yesterday, it has no continuation. Just this, focus on just this clause, just this part. Would you know the meaning? Is the meaning complete? Since we wanted to have fun, so it's just a fragment. It cannot stand on its own. What happened? No, nothing. Because we wanted to have fun, then what did you do? Where did we go? Where did you go? Okay, so that part cannot stand on its own. Okay, the meaning is not complete. Whereas this one, let's now focus only on this part. We went to San Juan yesterday. No, let's assume that we did not read this yet, this part. We did not add that yet. Only this. We went to San Juan yesterday. Now, is this a sentence? Can this stand on its own? Yes, no, yes. Why? Because we have here subject and a complete predicate. We went to San Juan yesterday. Who went to San Juan yesterday? We. What did we do? Went. We went to San Juan. Okay. Now, this one is the dependent clause. This one is the independent clause. This one can stand on its own, even without this being added. But on the other hand, this one, since we want to have fun, without this one, this has no meaning on its own. It's dependent. It has to rely. It has to depend its meaning, its existence to this independent clause. Okay. Now that's a subordinating conjunction. This is the part that cannot stand alone. It's the dependent. This one is where you have your subject and a predicate. That's one complete thought. That's a simple sentence or independent clause. Now we have, let's analyze a complex sentence. Subject, predicate, subject, predicate. Then you have even though. Okay, even though, that's our subordinating conjunction. Okay, example of those many subordinating conjunctions. Okay, there. Example here. Bob is popular even though he is ugly. You have here, Bob is popular even though he is ugly. This time here, Bob is popular. Is this dependent or independent? This is independent clause. Yes, because this can stand alone. Who is popular? Bob. What does it say about Bob? Is popular. So this is your subject, this is your verb or your predicate. Then you have here, even though he is ugly. Yeah. Even though he is ugly. Even though he is ugly, what does it say? Is the meaning complete? No. Okay? Unless when it's connected to Bob is popular, even though he is ugly. Now you don't really need to memorize all this. You just have to know the meaning. Okay? That once these subordinating conjunctions are connected close to, or these introduces the clause or the group of words, that part becomes dependent clause. Okay, it makes that sentence or clause weak or dependent or subordinate or inferior, powerless. The most common subordinating conjunctions are after, although, as, because, before, how, if, once, since, then, that, though, till, until, when, where, whether, and why. Okay. You only have to memorize actually what the things that you will have to memorize are only the fanboys actually. If it's not fanboys, it's either one of these, so that means it's complex. If it's fanboys, compound. Okay, we have here, Bob is popular even though he is ugly. Even though, even though he is ugly, that's dependent clause. Bob is popular, independent clause. Okay, one here can stand on its own. Even if this one here, even though it's ugly, is not added, this still can stand on its own as a sentence. Even though you can, just like the conjunction earlier, conjunctive adverb, you can put even though anywhere. Like I said, if you use the subordinating conjunction to that part of a sentence or to that clause, it will make that clause weaker, powerless. So here, even though Bob is ugly, he is popular. So you put even though here closer to this part, Bob is ugly, that makes it dependent. He is popular, that's now the independent clause. Okay? Wherever you put the even though or the subordinating conjunction, that will cause that word or group of words powerless, weak. Now let's go to compound complex. Now this one is a little, of course, with the word itself, a little complicated, the most complicated. Okay, now compound complex sentence. This type of sentence has more than one part that can stand alone, and at least one that cannot. Okay, it has to have a part, at least it has to have one part that is independent and at least one that is dependent. Conjunctions link the different parts of this sentence. Here, since we wanted to have fun, my boyfriend and I went to San Juan yesterday and we danced all night. What do we need here? We only need to have more than one independent and at least one dependent. Okay, let's analyze that sentence. There, okay. Okay, since we wanted to have fun, comma, this part is still dependent, that part still cannot stand on its own because of since. Since we wanted to have fun, that's dependent clause. My boyfriend and I went to San Juan. This is still independent clause. This is our simple sentence. Then, and we danced all night. We have here, and we danced all night. Because of and, remember and, it connects independent clauses together. So we danced all night. So this is, and we danced all night. This is still independent. So we have two independent, one dependent. That's now a compound complex sentence. This part actually is a compound sentence. My boyfriend and I went to San Juan and we danced all night. This part, these two parts here, this is now the compound sentence, right? And then this part, because we added, since we wanted to have fun, this is now part of the complex sentence. This part here, complex. So we have, that's why it's called the compound complex sentence. It's a combination of the compound and complex sentence. Okay, here. Remember but is one of the fanboys. So this part here is compound. This part here, because this part here is the complex. Okay, Mike is popular because he is good looking, but he is not very handsome. You have here. Mike is popular. Okay, let's have this now exercises. You just tell whether it's simple, compound, complex, or compound complex. We have here number 1. The bell rang. 2. Bridget ran the first part of the race and Tara biked the second part. 3. He stands at the bottom of the cliff while the climber moves up the rock. Then 4. The skier turned and jumped. 5. Naoki passed the test because he studied hard and understood the material. Okay, number 1, the bell rang. That is a simple sentence. As simple as that. What rang? The bell. What happened to the bell? It rang. Okay. Number 2, Bridget ran the first part of the race and Tara biked the second part. That's compound sentence. Because that's a compound sentence. Why? We have here, Bridget ran the first part of the race. Who ran the first part of the race? Bridget. What did Bridget do? She ran the first part of the race. That's one simple sentence, one independent clause. Then another simple sentence or another independent clause. Tara biked the second part. Who biked the second part? Tara. What did Tara do? She biked. She biked the second part. And connected by and, a conjunction. So that's a coordinating conjunction. So that's a compound sentence. Number 3, he stands at the bottom of the cliff while the climber moves up the rock. You have here, he stands at the bottom of the cliff. That's independent clause. While the climber moves up the rock, what happened? So that's the dependent clause. So you have while. So that's complex. Four, the skier turned and jumped. You have here a what happened to the skier? Turned and jumped. We have here simple subject, then compound predicate. One actor, two actions. So that's this still belongs to, under simple sentence. 5, Naoki passed the test because he studied hard and understood the material. You have here. First part, let's have, this is composed of 3 parts. We have Naoki passed the test. That's independent clause. Because he studied hard, so that's this is now the dependent clause, and understood the material. Here, because he studied hard and understood the material, that's now a compound complex sentence. Let's check our answer. C, number 1, that's simple, correct. 2, compound, correct. 3, complex. 4, simple. 5, compound complex. Now let's have another. Because Kayla has so much climbing experience, we asked her to lead our group. 2, you and I need piano lessons. 3, I plan to go to the hockey game, but I couldn't get tickets. 4. Dorothy likes white water rafting, but she also enjoys kayaking. 5. There are many problems to solve before this program can be used, but engineers believe that they will be able to solve them. Okay, number 1, because Kayla has so much climbing experience. Remember, because it's one of those subordinating conjunctions, making that part, making this part weak, right? Or dependent clause. We asked her to lead our group, so that's complex. Let's check our answers now. 2, you and I need piano lessons. You have there, you and I, 2 actors, 1 action. Need, 1 verb. So that's simple. 3, I plan to go to the hockey game, but I couldn't get tickets. I plan to go to the hockey game. That's 1 independent clause, but I couldn't get tickets. So that's compound. You have here, I couldn't get tickets. That's 1 independent. Wow, these are now 2 simple sentences connected by but, which is a coordinating conjunction. One of the fanboys, remember but? Number 4, Dorothy likes white water rafting, but she also enjoys kayaking. The same thing as number 3, right? You have 2 simple sentences. Dorothy likes white water rafting. She also enjoys kayaking. So that's still a compound sentence. And 5, there are many problems to solve before this program can be used, but engineers believe that they will be able to solve them. There are many problems to solve before this program can be used. 1 simple sentence, that's independent. Engineers believe that they will be able to solve them. That's still compound. Let's check. Oh, that's a compound complex. Because of that, engineers believe that's 1 sentence, independent, and that phrase and ion. Okay, so that's compound complex. You have complex, correct, simple, correct, compound, compound, and last one is, it should be compound complex. My answer was compound only because I wasn't able to see whatever is behind my camera. Okay, that's it, class. I hope you have learned many things about it. Okay, this has been teacher Jerry A. Java. So if there are questions, and in our video here, please, your assignment is you're going to make your own sentence, own simple sentence, make your own sample sentences from 1 simple, 1 compound, 1 complex, 1 compound complex sentence. Okay, and make sure to also label which ones the independent, which ones the dependent. Thank you. Bye bye bye. I hope you learned something. So please like, comment, share this.